Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's vlog. This week we talked about Al-Farabi. Al-Farabi was a medieval philosopher. He was a Arabic philosopher. Um, by some, he was viewed as the second master, with Aristotle being the first master. Because of this, to become a Arabic philosopher, it is important to read his work as the second master. He himself was very honored to wear this title, as Aristotle is very important in Arabic philosophy. Besides being a philosopher, he was also a mathematician. Uh, Besides writing about methods and philosophy, he wrote about logic, ethics, metaphysics, and politics. This makes him a polymath, someone who is specialized in multiple fields of science. Uh, I think that in medieval times there was more of an emphasis on being a polymath, so you would learn a lot about many different aspects of life. Uh, while nowadays uh, we often focus on being specialized in one certain field, uh, which limits how much knowledge we have of life in general, because you can only have so much knowledge, and all your knowledge is to just specialize in one direction to get as far ahead in that specific thing as possible to further. Um, yeah, so like a great thing about humans is that we are having we are able to have a massive collective knowledge of the world, and we are able to do that because we specialize our knowledge as individuals. Um, the flaw in that is that it seems to me there will be a point where we will grow apart from each other because being specialized limits the ways we can look at the world. Um, and with that, if we can look at the world from how we can look at the world from other people's perspectives. Um, so, good general knowledge is not just important for practical use, but I think it creates empathy towards those that you consider bad for the views that they have. Um, that is also why the medieval philosophers were so tolerant towards each other. They learned from each other, and with that came the understanding that they are not so different from each other. Um, I wanted to talk about this because in the world of science, people can be incredibly rude or mean to each other. I remember stories of scientists being banned from Wikipedia because they kept changing each other's Wikipedia pages, to an extent of just writing incredible rude things on the other person's page, which when I was young I thought was hilarious. But even nowadays, in my own classes where you just have two very controversial parties, and when a controversial topic is thrown to them, um, all bad jokes aside, because I have a kind of bad taste of humor. Um, it's important to keep a civil discussion, which means you can't do things like name calling, which includes uh, just calling people things like racist, uh, or discriminatory, just without giving any further explanation to why, or not talking to people because of that reason, because that's really cutting off the conversation. But also more subtle, but also not so subtle things like loudly yawning from across the room, um, or even worse, becoming aggressive. Um, Really listening for me is being able to argue for the thing that the opposition is arguing for, and I think that that is what really creates that mutual understanding that philosophers in that time used to have when they learned from each other, and that we are losing now. So I hope you all enjoyed this week's video, and that I could convince you of something, and I'll see you back next week. Bye bye.